for the guys this morning. And training camps are all underway. Thursday, we have a Hall of Fame game, our first preseason game between the Steelers and the Cowboys. 2 days away. What? 2 sleeps. Only 2 sleeps. And so, talking about quarterbacks is just what we do at this time of the year, especially when there's a rookie quarterback who is making a big statement, and that would be kind of like what Justin Fields is doing in Chicago. Yesterday, the Chicago Bears had all 3 quarterbacks speak to the media.
3.
Andy Dalton, who we all assume to be the week 1 starter. Justin Fields, who's their rookie quarterback and competing with Andy Dalton for the starting job. And Nick Foles also spoke to the media yesterday, which is the 3rd-string quarterback right now, but perhaps could find his way to the 1st-string quarterback somewhere else. Maybe it's with the Jets. Maybe it's with Indianapolis. Nonetheless, Justin Fields has this kind of like swagger about him, despite being in a very intense quarterback competition with Andy Dalton. I don't know. Fields feels like he's feeling himself.
I mean, I'm constantly growing every day. So, of course, there's a lot of people that, are anxious to see me play. But I think I said in my last interview, greatness doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. So, like I said before, I'm just trying to take it day by day and literally focusing on getting better and improving every day.
I'm going to add this, too, and then I'm going to let you go on Justin Fields, okay, and what Chicago needs to do here. Yesterday, Louis Riddick sent a very interesting tweet about Justin Fields and how he has been performing in Chicago. And he said, I'm not going to say how crazy good some of the things I have been told about Justin Fields, the professional, have been thus far. I don't want to hear it's only training camp brigade puff up their chest and scream at the top of their lungs, but it has been that good, all caps, just saying. Now, I do know that Louis Riddick has a relationship with Matt Nagy. I'm also going to throw that out there. But nonetheless, all good things coming out of Chicago about their rookie quarterback, Justin Fields. Haven't heard much about Andy Dalton, who we all, including myself, has slated as the week 1 starter. What do you think, Bart Scott?
I mean, I think at some point, and we don't know if it's going to be in training camp, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 5, I don't know. At some point, you think about Justin Fields, he's going to walk up to Andy Dalton, and he's going to do his best Captain Phillips movie, and he's going to say, look at me, Andy.
I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain now. And
it's the first one I've gotten in like 2 weeks.
And listen, at some point, it's one of those things, right? We all know when it's coming. We all know it's coming, and he knows that he's the future, and Andy Dalton knows that he's the future. It's up to Andy Dalton to hold him off for as long as he can, right? It's almost like when we knew that Fitzmagic was down there and we knew Tua was coming and his time was coming. And some people say, well, if you're winning, why would you want to do it, right? Because you're trying to go from good to great. Because, at some point, Andy Dalton can only take this offense and this team so far. You need the intangibles that a guy like Fields brings to the team and to the offense to be able to grow it, right? He's supposed to be almost like the mixture between Mitch Trubisky and Andy Dalton, a guy that can kill you from the pocket, but a guy that adds that added dimension that makes a defense have to play 11 on 11. That's why they were probably so excited to get him, because out of all the quarterbacks that were available, he's the one that can do both, at a high level. So like you think about what he's capable of doing in the big games that he's been in, that he's going to have natural swagger, natural confidence, and we know that he's a leader with his fight with the Big Ten.
Who should the Bears start week 1?
I'm going Andy Dalton, right? Because, listen, you can have a false sense of confidence, and I want this kid to kind of settle in and kind of feel the speed of the game, because he doesn't understand. OTAs, one speed, right? Training camp, another speed. Preseason, another speed. You're going to see something you ain't seen before that week 1 as far as game preparation, attention to detail. Right, it's attention to detail, and it's like, man, dude, I don't want my young rookie having to deal with Aaron Donald his first game. I don't want him to have to deal with the savviness of a guy like Jalen Ramsey who can bait him into some bad picks. I want him to see the speed of the game. And if Andy Dalton struggles, yeah, sure, we're going to have confidence. We're going to have a tight package for you. It's going to start with something like that. Hopefully the Bears can get into some blowouts where they can kind of let him get some garbage time. Or they may have like an added package for him in the short yardage goal line, to come down and try and take advantage of his ability to kind of be the 11 on 11 guy. And then eventually he's just going to take over, and there's nothing Andy Dalton can do about it but support the young kid and teach him how to be a pro.
So Sean McVay, it's interesting the Bears have the Rams week 1 because I'm going to compare Matt Nagy and Sean McVay here. These are two coaches that have, forward thinking when it has come to the preseason. I know a lot of coaches across the National Football League sit their starters, but these were 2 of the first coaches to come out and say, no, we ain't playing any of our starters in the preseason because we're going to rest them for week 1. And so with that being said, again, week 1 is Rams and Bears. No doubt they want to leave an element of surprise. But if you're the Chicago Bears, who are you playing in the preseason as a quarterback? You got Nick Foles, who's your third stringer, who I would assume you would play in the preseason, but they are obviously looking for him to be trade bait, I would assume, especially with the news out of Indianapolis and perhaps with the Colts.
Yeah, I'm putting him in bubble wrap.
Right. Andy Dalton, you were going to have be your week 1 starter, but he hasn't taken any snaps in a game as a Chicago Bear. Yeah. And then you have Justin Fields, your rookie, who you want to protect and you moved up to get. So who are you going to play?
Well, you're not trying to protect Fields. You're trying to get him as much game time experience. You want to see how the young man performs with the lights on, right? What you do is you give him a very basic package and see. You want him to play fast, right? You want him to step back, know where to go with his passes, and he's going to see very vanilla defenses early in the preseason. And you're going to script certain things, and you want him to try and grow, because what happens is, if the worst case scenario, if you lose Nick Foles and Andy Dalton gets hurt or struggles early on, he's going to have to play. You want to have a package for him and his unique skill set. You also want the starters. It's one of those things, right, where usually like the starting offense, starting defense usually only plays one series, especially the first series.
Right.
But for him, you leave him out there for Andy Dalton, but you also leave the ones out there to maybe play and extend him a little bit to protect the young quarterback as well before you transition to your backups. So you want to get him some time with the starters too, because it's important for him to learn how to play the speed and understand where the starters will be in case he's forced into action early. You want him to have some chemistry. You want to have him, because for the most part in camp, if he's taking the two reps, he's going with the 2 skill position players. So he'll have chemistry naturally with the backups or the third receiver. You want him to be able to have chemistry in that nonverbal communication with guys like Allen Robinson, so you can know, if he gets in the game, how he needs to proceed.
There is not a scenario where I could see Allen Robinson playing in the preseason. For me.
Well, you listen. You have to kind of play him because you don't have the 4 weeks that you normally have to kind of get your guys ready, because it's only 3 preseason games. Usually, you go like starters go like 1 series, then they go like to a half, and then you want them to learn how to come out of the half with adjustments. So you play them into the first half, and then you go out, and then game 4 you don't play anything. You don't have that fourth one, so you can't ramp them up.
I get it. I mean, I understand.
It's always that risk that somebody's going to get hurt.
What I'm
Somebody
saying.
loses a starter every preseason.
But that's why I know Nagy has taken like a very conservative approach to this. And that's why I can't see a scenario where he is toting out, especially his number 1 receiver, who does everything for that offense.
Well, you have to. You can't protect everybody. The roster isn't that big. It is in college. So,
yeah,
I know you're thinking with your Chicago Bears heart, right? And you don't want to see the season tank before you get there. You already had to deal with Aaron saying he's 100% in.
Don't do all that. You're doing too much now, see?
Aaron?